The road out here keeps its own hours. By the time I find the right mailbox, the sky has the color of metal, and the fields on either side are a white you can't measure. My tires press a path into the powder, and the house appears the way old things do in winter, at the last second, as if it changed its mind about letting you see it. 2 stories, long porch, half the siding stripped, and the other half thinking about it. The windows look like closed eyes. I idle at the end of the drive, listening to the engine think about stopping. It's colder than it should be, even for this month. The key is under the 3rd step, taped, where a person with a bad back wouldn't have bothered. The message from the client was short. Emergency winter work. Good pay. No fuss. That suits me fine. A job is a job, and winter doesn't ask questions. I kill the engine, and the quiet collapses in. The first step onto the porch answers with a slow, careful creak, like the house wants me to know it's listening. There's the smell every old place has, a little mold, a little pine, a memory of someone cooking something they never got around to eating. Inside, my breath makes a small cloud that doesn't belong to anyone. I set my bag down by the door and click the deadbolt out of habit. The thermostat on the wall blinks a number that doesn't match what my hands feel. Rooms open off a central hall, parlor on the right, dining room through pocket doors on the left, kitchen at the back. Everywhere I look, something waits to be fixed. Loose trim. A length of baseboard proud of its nails. A patch in the plaster that forgot how to be a wall. I do the usual first pass. Bathrooms, outlets, shut-off valves. The water line groans awake, like it doesn't forgive whoever turned it off wrong. A radiator sighs somewhere upstairs and then decides against it. Good. That means there's heat to be had if I can convince the boiler. There's a workroom off the kitchen, door half painted, bench under a window. I lay out tools in the pattern I always use: square, tape, chisel, hammer. And the pattern lays me out in return. You keep a place orderly, and a place keeps you. The phone buzzes in my pocket. On your own schedule. Leave receipts. No name on the text. No questions either. Fine. Less talking, more doing. Upstairs, the hallway is long in a way that isn't architectural. 3 doors on one side, 2 on the other, with a window at the end that looks out across the fields to more fields. The snow has a way of making distance feel polite. It keeps its voice down when it's this quiet. The first bedroom holds nothing but a stripped mattress and a dresser with one stubborn drawer. The second is a frame of a room, lathe peeking through where plaster lost its nerve. In the third, the cold has pooled into a corner you could trip over if you weren't paying attention. I press my hand to the outside wall. It gives back a temperature that feels like a decision. There's a draft I can't find. I mark the spot with a pencil X and promise to come back with a light and a better attitude. The stair to the attic is narrow and steeper than code ever allowed. At the top, the roof timbers make a chapel out of the dark. Insulation has been pulled back in one bay, like a hand lifting a blanket to see if anyone's in there. I kneel, listen, and hear only the house breathing, the old rhythm that keeps the place alive when no one is here to clap. Back down, I check the basement door. It sticks half an inch from the latch. Paint has glued it to the jamb in the lazy way paint does when nobody's watching. I slide a putty knife along the seam, and the knife comes back with the color of past decisions. The handle turns. I let it, then let it wait. Basements are for later. First, you make the rooms that people see behave themselves. Then, you deal with the part of the house that remembers everything. I put on the kettle even though there's no reason to. A little steam warms the air in a way a thermostat can't. I stand by the window and let the empty field watch me back. I make a list I don't need to read. 1. Boiler purge and bleed radiators. 2nd, upstairs exterior wall draft. Bedroom 3. 3rd, plane and reset basement door. 4th, rehang pocket doors. 5th, attic insulation bay, reinstall. 6, check crawl under kitchen for frozen supply. The light goes thin, afternoon deciding to be evening without telling anyone. I start with the boiler because heat is the kind of friend that makes the rest of your friends easier to like. Purge valve, bucket, bleed key. The pilot stares at me like we've met before. I coax it. It takes the flame like it was waiting for me to ask right. One radiator clanks a complaint and then remembers how to do its job. Another gives me a spray of rusty water that paints a story on my boots. I wipe it away with the kind of rag that used to be a shirt for someone who worked a cleaner trade. As the lines warm, the house changes its tone. What was tight gives a little. What was quiet learns speech. Floorboards announce themselves where no one's stepping, and a nail pops like a polite finger clearing a throat. I walk the perimeter room by room, hand outstretched, feeling for the lie. In bedroom 3, the draft has a path now, a narrow ribbon that slides down the plaster and slips across my knuckles. I lift the outlet cover and see the gap around the box you always see when someone used a saw that didn't care. I stuff a little backer rod and seal it like I mean it. The air stops pretending to be a river. In the hall, the long runner lifts its edge and then lies back down as if it changed its mind about the story it was going to tell. I smooth it with my toe and listen to the house swallow. The pocket doors complain when I slide them. I take them off, lift the rollers out of their sulk, give them a drop where it counts, and hang the weight back on. The wood finds the groove again, a satisfaction you can feel in your ribs. By the time I get back to the kitchen, the kettle has given up on me and cooled into something less than useful. I put it on again. Second tries go better in houses like this. The basement door still thinks it belongs to the wall. I set the chisel and lean on it, easy and patient, and the paint lets go in a single ribbon that curls like a little white memory. When I pull the door, it comes with a sound I've heard in other winters, a long, careful peel, like a bandage you know will take care with it. I stand at the top of the stairs and let the colder air take my breath back into itself. The steps are open stringers, no risers, the kind you can look through if you're the kind of person who looks. I touch the rail. It doesn't answer, not yet. I close the door and listen to the latch decide who it wants to be. It settles into place like it remembered. Outside, the light has gone to blue, the kind of blue you only get when the snow and the sky agree to trade jobs. I flip a switch in the parlor, and a lamp invents a small country where it is summer, and I stand on the border and appreciate the immigration policy. I eat a sandwich I don't taste. I write down receipts I haven't spent yet. The house keeps breathing, and the heat keeps trying, and the wind finds the eaves and asks them questions they don't have the architecture to answer. When the phone buzzes again, the message is shorter than the first. Good progress? I look at the screen until the word good stops meaning a thing. My fingers type yes and send it before I remember. There's no service out here. The message hangs in a corner of the room where the dark is thinner, and I put the phone face down so it won't see me pretending. At the workbench, I set out tomorrow in little piles. Hinges that remember doors, screws that know which thread they were meant to hold, a pencil that can still find a point if you talk to it right. The window over the bench shows me a field that has decided to be a lake of lightless water. For a second, I think I see a person standing at the far fence line. When I blink, the fence line remembers it is only a line, and the person was a wayward post with too much confidence. I lock the back door. I check the front twice and the side once. Upstairs, the hallway has gotten a little longer, the kind of longer that could be a trick of the eyes, or the part of the house that likes to stretch when you're not measuring. I let it. It's been here longer than I have. In bedroom 3, the corner that held the cold now holds a softer kind of air. The X on the wall looks like someone else drew it. I leave it there to remind us both. When I lie down on the mattress in the first room, the springs introduce themselves like neighbors who have been waiting to say hello. I tell them I'm not here long. They don't believe me, but they're polite about it. The heat clicks and sighs. Something in the attic answers with a shift that isn't a footstep, but doesn't need to be. My eyes learn the space between the ceiling cracks and the numbers on the thermostat settle into a compromise with the ones in my head. I listen to the house tell me what it needs. It doesn't use words. It doesn't have to. Sleep comes the way it always does in winter, slow, careful, and early. Before it gets there, I think of the list on the counter and the way the basement door let go when I asked it to. I think of the field pretending to be water, and the post pretending to be a person, and the message pretending to be sent. I close my eyes with my hands empty and my pockets light. The house breathes in. I breathe out. We agree, for now, to keep each other. The morning begins the way most winter mornings do. Too dark, too quiet, and just cold enough to make you question why you said yes to the job. I make coffee on the old gas burner and watch the steam fight with the frost on the window. The snow hasn't stopped overnight. It never really does out here. It just changes how it falls. The house sounds different during the day. More honest, less shy. Each creak comes with a little shrug. Each radiator's sigh is more awake. I like that about old places. They tell you what they are if you just stay still long enough to listen. I check the workbench before starting. The hammer and chisel have shifted a few inches to the left. Not rolled, not knocked, just moved. Clean and quiet. I tell myself I set them down wrong last night, but the straight edge of the hammer's handle lined up with the edge of the bench. I remember that part too well. I take a long drink of coffee, bitter enough to feel real, and get to work on the pocket doors first. One of them is hanging slightly off level again. Houses this old like to argue with what you fix. You fix something, they unfix something else while you weren't looking. By late morning, I'm upstairs replacing trim along the hallway baseboards. It's routine work, steady, rhythmic. Tap, set, tap. The house hums back with every hit, like it's keeping the beat. The hallway still feels long, maybe longer than last night. I count the steps back to the stairwell just to be sure. 12. I could have sworn it was 10 yesterday. I stop at the door to bedroom 3, the cold corner. The pencil X I left is faint, like someone's been wiping at it. I stand in the doorway and wait for the air to explain itself. It doesn't. By afternoon, the snow outside has grown teeth. The wind claws at the eaves, and the branches slap the siding like something impatient. The windows give off the kind of rattle that never finds a rhythm. The basement door is half open when I pass the kitchen. I know I closed it last night. It leans out just far enough to look like an invitation. I press it shut with 2 fingers and listen for the latch. It clicks too softly, like it doesn't mean it. I check the thermostat again. Same number. The air's colder. The hammer's back where it was last night. Exactly where. Perfect alignment with the edge of the bench. And the screwdriver set is missing one piece. A flathead I used on the trim upstairs. I check my coat pockets, tool belt, floor. Nothing. For a moment, I think about the figure I thought I saw by the fence line. If there was someone out there, they'd be half buried in snow by now. And no one's that quiet in Boots. I stand at the back door, hand on the lock, and watch the world get swallowed in white. The storm swells against the siding like it's trying to push its way in. There's nothing out there to see. There never is, until there is. I check the bench again before heading upstairs. This time, the hammer's still, but the missing screwdriver has been set neatly beside it. Night comes earlier here. The house doesn't warn you. One moment, it's dull gray through the windows. The next, it's black pressed against the glass. I've spent the last hour tightening up the second-floor hallway, resetting nails, sealing gaps, convincing the place to stop breathing so loud. But no matter what I fix, the hallway still feels stretched. 12 steps now, not 10, not 11, 12. The wind outside has dulled to a low, steady hum, the kind that feels less like weather and more like someone whispering against the siding. I don't like when it gets that quiet. I pour myself a mug of whatever's left in the pot. The house groans as I walk, not sharp, not sudden, just long, dragging creaks that seem to follow me room to room. Like the weight of my boots has learned to arrive a second before I do. I stop at the foot of the stairs. Upstairs, everything is still, but the air at the top landing feels thicker, like it's holding its breath. Bedroom 3's door is open. I don't remember leaving it that way. Inside, the pencil X is gone. Not smudged, not half faded, gone. And the cold has moved. It's no longer tucked in the corner. It's spread across the entire room, hugging the floor like fog. I step in once, just to be sure. The wood groans under me, like something warning something else. I'm at the basement door before I can talk myself out of it. The latch sits flush. No sign it ever moved. But the air coming from the seam smells old. Old in a way drywall can't fake. The house is quiet except for the boiler's soft, tired pulse. I open the door. The first thing that hits me is the temperature drop. A full step down into the kind of cold that belongs underground. I click the pull chain light. The bulb flares weakly, swinging on its wire like it's trying to leave. The stairs creak in a way they didn't before. I count the steps on the way down, even though I don't need to. 9. There's always been 9. The basement walls are a patchwork. New studs beside old concrete. Insulation tucked in places that don't make sense. One section near the far corner looks freshly plastered, like someone got halfway through a job and decided that was enough. I set my hand against the surface. The wall gives back a cold that isn't about temperature. It's about memory. The workbench down here is bare except for a stack of old paint cans and a single nail punch laid neatly in the center. I didn't leave that there. I don't even remember bringing it down. The silence is almost too clean. Even the boiler seems to be holding its breath. Then, 3 sharp knocks. Not from the walls. From inside the plaster. Measured, even. Like someone tapping to get out. I step back fast enough that the chain light sways hard, throwing shadows against the ceiling. The tapping stops. The silence grows its teeth back. I should go upstairs. I should close the door. Instead, I stare at the wall until the shape of it starts to blur, and the house starts to sound like it's thinking. The storm finally breaks in the early hours. I don't hear it stop so much as I feel it lift. The house exhales. Everything goes still. The kind of still where every sound belongs to you. I wake to the radiator's quiet click. The way old iron talks when it cools down. The light outside isn't morning yet. It's just the snow reflecting the sky back at itself. I pull on my boots and jacket without really thinking why. The basement door is closed. I locked it last night. I'm sure I did. But the lock looks different in the dark, like it's thinking about something. I walk the hallway slowly. The boards groan under me like they're trying to give me away. At the end of the hall, the upstairs window gives me a view of the road, or where the road should be. Now it's just white, seamless, like the house is floating on a blank page. Bedroom 3 is colder than before. The air presses against my chest as soon as I step in. The pencil X never came back. The plaster beneath it is slightly darker, like something bled through and dried, without asking permission. I reach for the light switch, but the bulb just hums, then dies. The silence after is so thick I can hear the snowflakes landing outside. I check the closet out of habit. It's empty, except for a draft strong enough to raise the hair on my arm. I press my palm against the wall inside. It's colder than the outside window. Back downstairs, the house feels heavier, not louder, heavier. The kind of weight you don't see, but your bones notice. The kitchen door to the back porch is unlatched. The snow outside is perfectly smooth. Not a single footprint. I secure it and step away, but a few steps later, I hear the softest click behind me. I turn. The door is open again. No wind. No draft. Just open. I shut it with my shoulder this time and slide the bolt. The old wood shivers against the frame like it remembers something I don't. In the parlor, the tools are arranged again. Hammer, screwdriver, nail punch, all laid out perfectly parallel to the bench edge. My own handwriting is scratched into a piece of old plaster propped against the wall. Work must be done. I don't remember writing that, but I know the way those letters lean. I know the pressure of that hand. Upstairs, a door creaks open on its own, not fast, not sudden, just slow, like the house is clearing its throat. I stand at the basement door again. This time, the air on the other side isn't just cold, it's damp. Heavy, like it's been holding a breath for too long. The latch turns too easily. I don't need the pull chain light to see where the steps lead, but I pull it anyway. The bulb sways the same way it did the night before. This time, it doesn't stop. The air in the basement doesn't move like normal air. It presses against the walls, against me. Every creak is smaller down here, muffled, like the house is trying not to wake something. The wall in the far corner waits for me. Same patch of plaster, same faint line along the seam where it doesn't quite blend with the rest. I run my hand along it. The chill seeps into my skin. There's something behind it, something solid and something not. The nail punch from the bench upstairs is lying in the dirt at my feet. I didn't bring it down here. 3 soft knocks answer from the wall, not angry, not begging, patient. I step back, but I don't leave. The part of me that should go upstairs doesn't. My fingers brush the plaster again. There's a pulse in it, faint, like something remembering a heartbeat. I look down. There are boot prints on the basement floor, a full line of them, leading to the wall, not leading back. And they're mine. The chain light flickers. The house makes a low sound somewhere between a groan and a sigh. And I finally understand something I've been trying not to. No one's breaking into this house. No one's moving my tools. No one's calling. It's all me. It's always been me. I stay in the basement longer than I should. The cold has crept into the walls, into my jacket, into me. The hammer on the workbench glints softly under the swaying light, like it remembers something I don't. I follow the boot prints again. Every single one fits the sole of my boots. There's no way around it. There never was. The plaster wall in front of me has a small crack near the edge now, thin enough to miss, unless you're looking for it. I press my thumb into it. The wall gives like it knows me, like it's waiting. I fetch the flathead screwdriver without even thinking. My hands move in practiced steps I don't remember learning. A few chips fall away. The plaster peels with quiet, familiar resistance. Behind it is wood, old, dry, scored with marks that were carved, not by tools, by fingernails. A smell rolls out that the cold can't hide. Dust, mold, and something else that's lived here longer than any winter. Outside, The storm has returned. Snow hits the windows upstairs with a steady rhythm. The house settles around me like a tired animal curling up for the night. I dig deeper into the wall. Inside is a narrow cavity, more crawl space than room. And in that crawl space, a line of old work coats. Different sizes, different colors, each still hanging on rusted nails, lined up like uniforms. I step closer. The beam of the swinging bulb catches the hard hats stacked on a shelf. Names are written in black marker, different handwriting each time, but every tag is dated. All years I don't remember. On the far side of the crawl space is a mirror, not a big one, just enough to catch my reflection. I don't recognize the man staring back, not the face, not the eyes, but his boots. His boots fit the prints on the floor. I pick up one of the coats. A tag dangles from the collar. It's my handwriting, my name. A phone rings somewhere above me, the same clipped, curt ringtone that's been calling me every morning. For a second, I want to run up those stairs and answer it, but I already know what's on the other end. No client, no contractor, just me. And I remember suddenly and completely how it used to go. I'd hire them to fix this place, one at a time. Then, when the job was done, I'd bring them down here, and the house would keep what it wanted. I'd tell myself it was the house. It was never the house. It was me. The wind above rattles the siding. Somewhere out front, tires crunch through snow. Headlights stretch faintly across the frosted windows. Someone's coming up the drive. A new contractor, another job, another winter. I set the hammer down gently on the bench. It lands exactly in place, like it's been waiting. My hands don't shake. My breath doesn't cloud. This isn't new. This is home. I take one last look at the wall I've built, patched, and torn down 100 times. The snow groans under a pair of boots on the porch. Then the knock at the door. 3 short taps. Measured, patient, the same rhythm the wall gave me. I smile without meaning to. Not wide, not warm, just the kind that comes when you remember exactly how the night's supposed to go. Work must be done, must be